Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, she calls the Philippines her second home, but the government wants her out.
I'm smiling on the outside, but I'm really very sad inside because it's been my life for the last 27 years.
The Bureau of Immigration revokes her missionary visa after alleged involvement in political activities.
They cannot exercise their full political rights in a foreign country.
Despite an order from President Rodrigo Duterte himself.
Huwag mong papasokin kasi walang hiya ang bunganga ng madre niya. You do not have that right to criticize her.
The 71-year-old Australian nun makes an appeal.
Sana may due process, sana mayroon akong pagkatuon para mapaliwanag ano ba ang talagang missionary work ng mga dahil.
Sister Patricia Fox and her legal counsel join us live. And later, meet the surfer who breaks wave records. That's for today's In Focus. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. No less than the President of the Republic wants Australian nun Patricia Fox out of the country. This after she allegedly participated in partisan political activity. Now her camp wants to appeal the immigration order requiring her to leave the Philippines after her missionary visa was forfeited. Taking part in protest rallies is said to be in violation of her visa terms. Fox was detained, questioned, and released for supposedly attending protest rallies. A deportation case against her is also still pending before the agency. What will now be her next legal action? Let's go straight to the source of the story. Sister Patricia Fox and her legal counsel, Maria Sol Taule. Attorney, Sister, good morning and welcome to the show. Sister Patricia, how are you?
Okay.
How's it been since all this happened to, of course, the Bureau of Immigration asking you to leave the country?
Well, it's been a little overwhelming, of course, not expecting this and not expecting the number of people who've come out and supported me and said, you know, don't leave us. And we had a thing yesterday, it was very touching with people saying, don't go, don't go.
Is the one yesterday with Father Robert Reyes? Was that the activity with Father Robert Reyes?
It was at the Archbishop's.
Archbishops.
Also. And what's been going through your mind the past couple of days?
I think my mind had turned off, but I'm still hopeful that somehow that a process can take part and can take place, and somehow there will be a different decision. But yeah,
you're talking about due process.
Yes.
Do you feel that you were not given due process?
Yes, I think the legal team.
We'll ask Attorney Sol. Let's talk about this from the time that the Bureau of Immigration canceled or revoked her. We call this missionary visa. I remember, I think we spoke one time, Attorney, and you were saying that Sister Patricia Fox was supposed to be given 10 days to answer
the additional evidence submitted by the Bureau of Immigration Intelligence Division. It was submitted last April 24. And from then, we will answer within 10 days. But we were surprised on April 25, we received a notice that her missionary visa was already forfeited or canceled.
They used a number of, issues that Sister Patricia Fox had taken part in. It was a political activity last April 7. The Bureau of Immigration has that order. Let's put that up on the screen right now. This is the order of the Bureau of Immigration, and it says there, on April 10, 2018, Intel agent Melody Penelope Gonzalez reported that Fox illegally engaged and interfered in a political activity in Davao City on April 7, 2018. Is this something you're confirming, or is this something you're going to deny?
It's not true. I'm not sure if that's the Coca-Cola workers' press conference, no?
Sister.
Or is it the jail visit in Tagum?
On April 7, as part of an international fact-finding and solidarity mission, we actually we were going to an area to talk to some people who it had been reported were being harassed by the military. Now, we never arrived at that area due to checkpoints. So we went in the afternoon, which was also scheduled. We went to visit some political prisoners in the Tagum Provincial Jail.
I see.
And the warden, we organised with the warden, so that was, and then we went, there was actually a picket outside the Department of Agrarian Reform, and we went by that just to talk to the farmers there about what their issue was, and then that was what happened on
So
April
there were
7th.
two activities that you had joined. One is the prisoners in Tagum City, correct, Sister Patricia?
On
And
the 7th, yeah. There were other-
on April 7th, that the date they're referring to. And then the second one was, you were saying the picket.
Yeah, there was a picket outside the
Department of Agrarian Reform. Is this the one? Because these are the pictures that were showing on air. That is you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, let me go back then, Sister Patricia and Attorney Sol, to the order of the Bureau of Immigration. It says that you held a placard saying, "Free all political prisoners." Is this true? Was there ever a time that you held a placard and said free, said "Free all
And
political
I mean,
prisoners"?
on the day, the Targum one too, the political prisoners were holding "Stop Killing Farmers." I joined, there was sometime in December, it's the day of the political prisoners. I joined a fast on that day, and I'm seeing in one of the photos holding a microphone because we had a prayer service and I was reading part of the prayer, and I am holding free political prisoners.
So then, that's true.
Yeah.
Any regrets, though? I mean, did you realize that you were not supposed to do this? An attorney, is it clear? I think it's Section 9G of the 1940 Immigration Act that Sister Patricia, well, anybody cannot, which I also understand and I know of, that they're not supposed to be engaging in any political activities, whether for or against.
It's not actually the Section 9G. It's the operations order issued by the Bureau of Immigration. It's SBM number 2015-025. That
It's a circular.
Yeah, that prohibits foreign tourists in participating in partisan political activities. But we stood by our argument that
Yeah, what is your argument?
Sister Pat did not participate in any partisan political activity, but those are part of her missionary work. That's standing with the poor and standing with their causes for just wages and living wages. That's a normal part of her missionary work.
But if you join an activity or a picket of the Department of Agrarian Reform, isn't that a political activity?
That's how they interpret it. That's how the Duterte government interpret it. But as far as Sister Pat's missionary work is concerned, it's consistent with the teachings of the church to be one with the poor and those oppressed masses. So we don't see anything wrong with holding a placard that says free political prisoners.
All political prisoners.
What's wrong is calling for the resignation of Duterte or the ouster of Duterte or anything like that. But she did not say anything like that.
She did not say that. But let's also understand that it's, from my understanding, you are correct though. I looked at the 1940 Immigration Act. And
it says nothing.
The Section 9G did not say anything there.
Did not say anything. That's
quite
correct.
confused me. But apparently there was a circular.
There was a circular that specifically prohibits that.
Yeah, that specifically. So was it clear, Sister Pat? Was it clear to you that you could not attend these gatherings?
No, I had never heard of this circular until all of a sudden I'm accused of breaching it. And I mean, the chairperson is of the CHR is saying every person, whether they're foreign or not foreign, has a right to freedom of expression
and opinion,
freedom to associate. You know, so there are questions. I had never heard of the circular until I found out.
The circular says it's foreign tourists. But Sister Pat is holding a missionary visa. So we think it doesn't say the holders of missionary visa should not participate in this or that.
Understandably, but isn't, a missionary visa. Isn't Sister Pat a tourist visa? Do you not categorize her as that, or that's completely different?
It's completely different. The immigration issues different kinds of visas. So there's a tourist visa, there's a missionary visa. Her visa is under 9G of the Immigration Act.
Of 1940?
Of 1940.
Which we couldn't find any missionary visa, the word missionary visa there, because I checked that myself as well. Okay, so you filed a motion for reconsideration before the Bureau of Immigration.
Yes,
and what is your best defense on this?
Well, the defense that we indicated in our motion for consideration is the denial of due process to Sister Pat Fox. The order was issued in April 23, and we received it on April 25. And we're not given enough time to refute all the allegations because earlier Malacanang said that the basis for the revocation or the forfeiture of the visa is the result of the preliminary investigation and the deportation proceedings, which is not true. The deportation proceedings is still ongoing, and we're set to file a counter affidavit until we knew that on April 23, the visa was already revoked.
In other words, what you're saying is when they made a decision on April 23 to revoke Sister Pat's missionary visa, basically you were saying that you were supposed to be given 10 days to answer first the accusation against her.
Not really, because there were two cases going on. One is the cancellation or forfeiture of the visa, and one is the deportation proceedings. So it's like they are preempting the deportation proceedings by canceling her visa, because technically they wanted to deport her already by canceling it and requiring her to leave within 30 days from the receipt of the order. So they should have given us 10 days, enough time to answer all the allegations
before they can go ahead with the deportation
or the cancellation of the visa for that matter.
I see. All right, we'll be taking a short break. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. When we return, will she be leaving the country if her appeal is not granted? Sister Patricia Fox will still be with us after the break. And later, a Brazilian surfer breaks a world record. The details on today's In Focus. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Sister Patricia Fox, and her legal counsel, Attorney Maria Sol Taule. So again, the MR was filed yesterday. So your biggest argument was that Sister Pat was not given due process.
Denial of due process, and it's available even to non-citizens.
What are the chances, Sister Pat, do you think, of the Bureau of Immigration possibly reversing their earlier decision?
I'm just hoping. That's all I can say. I'm just hoping.
What about you, Attorney?
We're hopeful, but after the filing of the motion for consideration, it will be subject to a resolution from the Bureau of Immigration. But whatever happens, we will appeal it all the way to the Supreme Court if necessary.
In other words, if it is denied, you will go to straight to the Supreme Court?
Yeah, we can go file an appeal with the proper body, and then if it's still not, we go to CA and we go to Supreme Court.
Yeah, but what happens in the event that your appeal is denied and Sister Pat is given 30 days to leave the country? When does that 30 days begin? Does it begin upon your receipt, Sister Pat receiving the order last April 24?
Yeah, it begins from the time that we received the order.
Which is April 24?
25.
25, sorry.
25. You received it 25. So that gives you more or less, I mean, maybe until May 25?
Yeah.
And if denied, Sister Pat, are you going to leave?
I'll look at options, but yeah, I can't stay here illegally.
You wouldn't really have a choice.
No, I don't think I'd have a choice.
But as we always say, we will exhaust all remedies to let her stay in the Philippines.
Would you be looking at the Court of Appeals first before the Supreme Court? And the next question to that is, pending your appeal before the Court of Appeals, what happens to Sister Pat? Must she leave the country within those 30 days?
Well, right now, the order is still under consideration, so we're hoping that they will not deport Sister Pat within the period until they come up with a resolution.
Sister Pat, is it clear to you now, I mean, whether, I understand that you were saying you were not given due process, but is it clear to you now that having joined such activities is a no-no?
No, it's not clear to me at all, and it's certainly not what's been explained to me by human rights people and Commission on Human Rights. I know as a foreigner living in the country, I cannot join
anti-demonstrations,
or against the president, or
anti-government demonstrations.
Well, join them pro or against, or lobby for whoever. But as a member of an international church, we have certain universal principles. You know, the right to work, the right to human rights, the right here, the right to land, the right to live in peace. The tribal people's right to ancestral lands. So as a church person, I've always been trying to listen to what they're saying, listen to their dreams, their hopes,
aspirations,
and being there in solidarity with them and saying, okay, the church's social teachings, the message of the gospel is exactly what you're trying to espouse.
Yeah. But maybe, do you feel that having to hold a placard that says free political prisoners, could that be a little bit of a question mark probably in the future?
I might do it, but I've never thought about it as being, because to me that's what we're there for. We're fasting for political prisoners. You know, it's the Universal Day of Political Prisoners.
Yeah. And
so we're fasting for political prisoners.
In the first place, the victims of political prisoners are farmers, peasants, indigenous peoples have been charged with fabricated cases because they're fighting for their ancestral lands. So I mean, I think it's nothing wrong. It's a universal obligation to defend those kinds of rights.
So we will continue, obviously, to see and find out the decision of the BI regarding your motion for reconsideration. Let me just go back to your work here. Can you tell us the best part of staying in the Philippines? You can even speak to us in Filipino if you want to.
Mahirap ang Filipino.
Mahirap ba?
Ay, kangaroo Tagalog. Yan ang problem ko. Nagulat ako because kadalasan hindi ko nagsalita kasi kangaroo Tagalog. Tapos my English is slang because it's Australian.
Opo.
Kaya,
But that's okay because you're Australian. We understand that you would have to be slang.
But I mean, I love being with the people. And even now, you know, we were down in Tagum, sa mga banana plantations. Mga 2 years ago, I went down there again because they wanted their land back from the agri-business venture agreement, and it wasn't benefiting, like Hacienda Luisita with the stock distribution. They weren't benefiting. Kaya gusto nila, kukunin ang lupa nila. At that time, binaril ang mga ganyan. Now, bumalik sila, yung mga 2 years, 3 years lang. Ay, may mais na, may mga iba't ibang gulay. And they look, mahirap pa rin, pero there's a different, parang masaya sila.
Pakiramdam nila.
Kaya yan ang mga magandang.
Alaala?
Oo.
Are those experiences you always remember with the Filipino? How would you describe the Filipino people?
Well, usually, I mean, very patient with me, actually, kadalasan ng mga, lalo sa nasa province. And because it's relational dito, di ba? You know, importante mga tao, tapos, and easygoing.
Sister Pat, if you have to go back to, is it going to be Melbourne in Australia? What are you going to do there?
I haven't got that far.
Hindi mo pa naiisip.
Dati I was a lawyer, so siguro I would somehow volunteer in something like that.
All right, maybe as a last question, would there be a message or an appeal to the government or to the president, Sister Pat?
I guess, I mean, Sana, what I've been doing is trying to be with the people in their cause for justice, for land, for freedom, for, and Sana, the government will always hear those calls. And personally, Sana, I can stay here.
Sister Pat and Attorney Sol, maraming salamat po sa inyong dalawa. Thank you.
Thank you
so much
for inviting us.
The Bureau of Immigration stands firm on its decision to revoke the missionary visa of Sister Patricia Fox. In an interview with CNN Philippines, immigration spokesperson Antoinette Mangrobang explains that Fox is not an illegal alien but needs a tourist visa to be able to enter the country. Mangrobang clarifies, however, that the visa forfeiture of Fox is separate from her deportation case.
What was issued was a visa forfeiture order. The directive of the commissioner to file the counter affidavit within 10 days from her receipt of the pieces of evidence submitted by in the report is a counter affidavit to be submitted in her deportation case. It is separate from the visa forfeiture order proceeding, which has already been decided by the board.
We have invited representatives from the Immigration Bureau, but they refer us to their official statement on the issue. In a statement released April 25th, the Bureau of Immigration further explains why they forfeited Fox's missionary visa. The statement says the Australian nun violated, this is the one we were talking about a while ago, Section 9G of the Philippine Immigration Act of 1940. The statement adds, and quote, Fox was found to have engaged in activities that are not allowed under the terms and conditions of her visa, unquote. Apart from the forfeiture of Fox's missionary visa, the one-page order also directs the deactivation of her alien certificate of registration due to expire on September 5th. But the Immigration Bureau clarifies it is only after the parties have been heard will the case be submitted to the Board of Commissioners for their deliberation and will determine if whether or not she will be deported and barred from entering the country in the future. This is The Source on CNN Philippines. Coming up, a surfer conquers the waves and breaks another world record. That's for today's In Focus.